What's happening? I got another one for y'all. Right now. I'm about to get into the placenta. Now, first of all, when I think about the placenta, I think about placement. You know, the percent. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what led me to look into placenta? Thought told me, hey, the placenta is the earth. I said, is that right? He said, yeah, the placenta is the earth. I said, why is that, Self? He said, because it nourishes you just like the earth does. And it looks like the earth. And it says, you come from the placenta, out of the placenta, and all other things grows out of the earth. So, there's a major similarity here. Now, that's one aspect of the placenta. Now, the symbolic aspect of the placenta is when we deal with the moon and the stars. I've came to the realization that the placenta represents the moon. And we all know we represent stars. So we are the stars that rested upon or depended upon the moon, which is the placenta, as I will prove. The thing is, the more I dig, or the deeper I swim, the new discoveries becomes more and more amazing. But the reality becomes more and more evident that everything we know to be comes from pure observation of ourselves, animals, plants, and also the celestial bodies. And of course, much more. But along my path, I've mainly found most of these truths in search of who I truly am. So, in the first exhibition of self-discovery, we should understand self-reproduction. At least, that's what I chose to understand. That's what I felt the first step was, first base. How did I get here? And once I get here, how do I operate? So, now that we understand this, let's start digging into the information. The placenta is an organ that develops in your uterus during pregnancy. This structure provides oxygen and nutrients to your growing baby and removes waste products from your baby's blood. Now, the placenta attaches to the wall of your uterus, and your baby's umbilical cord arises from it. Now let's rewind. Let's get back to the first sentence. Because in the first sentence, I want you guys to understand that the placenta is an organ that develops in the uterus. It's not nothing that the mother made, so to speak. It's an absolute part of the baby, of the development of the baby, preconception, so to speak. Okay? They say the placenta is an organ that develops in your uterus during pregnancy. So it's a part of pregnancy. This structure does what? Provides oxygen and nutrients to your growing baby. The same thing the earth does for us, right? The plants provides us what? Oxygen. The plants and the trees. And it also provides us nutrients from the fruit they bear. And it also takes care of the waste products in our body. All right? So it takes it from the blood. That's the carbon dioxide that's flowing from the blood. Or the air, rather. I'm sorry. Waste products like urine and feces. Y'all understand what's going on. The placenta attaches to the wall of your uterus, and your baby's umbilical cord arises from it. Now, we know we all are attached to the umbilical cord, but we assume the umbilical cord is attached to our mothers, which it is. But the umbilical cord arises from the placenta, and the placenta attaches to the uterus, which develops in the uterus. You understand? So when the cord is being cut, it's being cut from the placenta, not your mother, even though it is being detached from your mother as well, symbiotically. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Like if we were to look past the surface, this is what's going on. So now, let's check out the next picture or information. This is to explain that there are two parts to the placenta, and that the placenta is considered the mother, the first mother. Okay? The placenta is your first mother, according to explanation. Right? It says the placenta functions as a fetal maternal organ. What is the placenta? How does it function? As a fetal maternal organ with two components. The fetal placenta, which is the chorion frondosum, which develops from the same blastocyst, or cyst, the Big Bang, that forms the fetus, and the maternal placenta, the pseudo bacillus. Okay? So you got the maternal placenta, and you got the fetal, well, and you have the fetal placenta. So mother and child, moon and star, Mary and Jesus, the Black Madonna and child. But understand, we're speaking of the placenta and you. That was provided by the quote unquote father. The spirit. Do y'all understand what's actually going on here? Okay. So it say, in the maternal placenta, decidua basilis, which develops from the maternal uterine tissue. So inside of the placenta is uterine tissue. All right, that's how it's formed. So now let's get into a few more pictures so we can get a deeper understanding of what's going on. Well, a few pictures rather this time. Now, right off the bat, you can see your crescent moon shape. It's the crescent moon. And another thing I want you to notice is that it appears to be trees along a landscape. If it was turned the other way, 180 degrees. You understand? I have circles, so to speak. Well, 120. All right. So you see, you got your maternal spiral artery. That's the red spirals. The maternal vein, the blue. The basal plate. And then we're dealing with the uteral wall, right? The maternal side, the lobia, which is the whole section, right? Consider the whole tree, so to speak. Intervillous space. And then we had a villous tree. You see? They're calling it a tree. And then on the other side, we're dealing with the amniotic cavity. That's the waters that we sit in. And of course, you see the umbilical cord. So you can imagine that you as the baby is attached to the umbilical cord. But that's where it all begins. And we all form out of this placenta. That's how we come into being. And that's what science can understand. We are formed from the maternal spiral artery, feminine, and the maternal vein, the blood, basically, both of them. All right. So the quote unquote North Pole would be umbilical cord. And for the ones that don't know the etymology of umbilical, it's really umbilical, O-M. And O-M represents the word of God. That's what O-M represents, om. And umbilical is actually biblical. So the Bible, the word of God, is you, the star. You understand? You are formed out of that. And the umbilical cord becomes your spinal cord. Okay? The umbilical cord becomes your spinal cord. So now we understand we're starting to deal with the Kundalini or whatever they call it. I call it the rise and the fall of adrenaline, of command. Because as we understand, which I forgot to put in here, you have the sensory artery and the motory, if they call arteries or not. But you have the sensory, the one that goes up, and the motory, the command that comes down, right? So the law goes up and the command comes down. One is red, one is blue. Red pill, blue pill. I'm just saying. I'm just going in. I'm just dumping my mind out, you see. So let's keep rolling, since we understand. Let's keep sliding down the parts or the descriptions of the sections of the amniotic cavity. We had the peripheral region. So it's like your peripheral vision. You have mid-disc region, central region, fetal vein, as we can see, what it's pointing at, fetal artery, chorionic plate. Then we have the syncytial trophoplast, the syncytial trophoplast layer. It's pretty good the way I said it. Hey, y'all see what they say. Say it the way you feel. All right, so let's move to the next picture so y'all get what I'm saying about, hey, this is looking like a moon. All right, so let's keep moving. This is the same image, for the most part, that we just saw. So we saw the embryonic cavity already, and we're dealing with the yolk sac and all that. You know, just pay attention to it. Just look at it. All right. Y'all see what's going on? And you see you got the gut. The last picture, the yellow part, the yolk, is considered the gut. And we come out of the yolk like a yolk in an egg, right? We understand that the yolk is the baby. That's the same thing with us.